The second part is about types of intellectual property right. There are four types, four main ones. Now, the first is patents, inventions or innovations. Second is designs. The third is trademarks. And the fourth is copyright. I will explain them one by one. So let's start with the patents. What is a patent? A patent is a 20-year monopoly that is granted for some innovation, some creation. So if you create something, you can have a 20-year right to use it. And if anyone else copies it or does something similar, well, you can charge them a fee. Potentially you can. Or they need to pay you royalties. What are royalties? A commission, basically, because you created it first. Now, there are things that can be registered as a patent and some things cannot. We will look at the other elements of intellectual property. It can be extended, but usually a patent is some kind of tangible asset. For example, some unique design, some creation. If we look at patents by country, the US is number one, followed by Germany and Japan. And if you think about these countries, what do? What kind of products they create? A lot of technology comes from there. Pharmaceuticals, for example, from the United States. They are not part of the creative industries, but they do create a lot of that. A lot of investment goes into producing one medicine, 7 years maybe of research and a lot of money, and they need to get some of this money back. So they register patents when they discover this new medicine and they can use it, they can charge more money. When the patent expires, then anyone can produce this medicine and sell it at a cheaper price. For example, paracetamol's patent has expired. That's why we find it cheap. But some new medicines that cure some more rare diseases, well, they're still expensive. Germany, Japan, big producers of cars. There's design involved there and a lot of technology or engineering. So in design engineering, a lot of patent can play a role there if you are in that area. France as well. So they have about 60%. Why? Not only because they create a lot, but also they have a legal system that protects it. So it is very important. Patent acquisition process. It is a lengthy and complicated process. It is not short. It takes between 18 months to over 30 months to register a patent. It is very costly and it is not easy. So unless you really think that something is worthy to invest to register a patent, maybe it's not the best idea. Just to give you one example to put things in perspective, there are about 400 patents of mouse traps registered in the US. And out of these, no more than 10 are used. So all the others, they have spent money and time to register it, but they will never get any money back in the form of royalties or commission. This is one example of a patent. You can look for more in Google Scholar, scholar.google.com. This team of people, they invented a little thing that you attach to your glasses, and then you can use that to connect things, the technology devices to your glasses. What is it? It's just a little plastic thing you attach to your glasses. They patented it because they believe they can make money from it. So anyone who will use something like that or create something like that need to pay them royalties. Will they make money from this design? I don't know. We need to follow them. It is recent, so we don't know. Usually it takes 2, 3, even 5 years before any patent can start generating any money. Because people need to know about it, need to start using it. And by that time, maybe some better products or better alternatives might have come into the market. The second is design rights. Design rights are easier to register and create than patents. What are they? It's all about how something looks. And there are quite a number of organizations that deal with it, the same as the ones that deal with patents. So how something looks. This is one example. Maybe you know about James Dyson. James Dyson's famous in the UK for designing this innovative engine for hoovers that clean the carpets or fans or hand dryers. He designed every single piece of his devices. And but also he protected all of them. And that is one example. It is easy to register and less costly to register a design than it is to register a patent, because it's only about how something looks. It is not always easier to protect and argue, though, because some things just look similar, and then is it worth it to pay the lawyers to follow up, or maybe it is not. One question for discussion, if you can pause the video at this point and think about it. If you design a t-shirt for Zara, who has the design rights? You, Zara, or the buyer? And how much does it matter? Think about it. Zara employs a lot of freelance designers, just to give you some information. And Zara, once the designers design it, sends it to small producers in Portugal and Spain. They produce it, send it back to Zara. Zara sends it into the shops everywhere worldwide and stays on the shop for 30 days. So every design is worth a 30-day worth of marketing, selling. So, but anyway, who owns the design and how much does it matter? Think about it. The third point is trademarks. Trademarks are about logos, symbols, things that are used to identify a business from another. If you are a painter, maybe you sign your paintings. That is your trademark. If you are a game designer, maybe you put image of you in the game characters. Some do that in some of the top games. So you mark your creation in some way. Companies also mark themselves. They use branding and logos and so on. In this slide, you have a few bad examples or bad copies of how others try to copy some of the top brands. They didn't do it well, but why they do it? Because they want to capitalize on their market. It is not advisable to do that. So logos, shapes, colors, smells can be trademarks. Why are they important? In this table, you can see the top brands or the top trademarks. They are important because they help us to recognize these companies. There is no surprise why Amazon is number one. It is one of the best known brands, but we have Amazon is followed by Apple, and we know them. Once we see that Apple, that bitten apple, we know what company we're talking about. It is very important to have a trademark. If you cannot have a patent because it's costly, at least have a trademark about your name, about your brand. If you have a logo, in a way, try to protect that, because by doing that, you protect your identity and your business. Question for discussion. If you design a logo for a company that pays you to do that, who owns the trademark? Well, it depends. Sometimes they just sell you the use of it, or you can sell them just the use of it. Sometimes you sell the copyright, or you sell all rights, and you don't have rights over your own creation anymore. It depends. The fourth and last thing is copyright. By default, anything you write, anything you create is protected by copyright, but you need to publish it. In a way, you need to have some evidence that you created this. So publishing is the first and easiest way to protect your creation. If you are a writer, if you write poems, or even if you have a website, the content you write in it, it's protected by copyright because you created it and you upload it there. So, but it's always good to put a note that this is protected, so publish it. You can also self-publish books now. If you go with the big publishers, they will charge maybe 90% or even more. And you will get only 10% or 7% of royalties or the profit. But if you go with a small publisher, or if you publish yourself, you can take most of your profit. Now, the risk with that is you might be able to publish something, but then you can't sell. The bigger publishers will take away that risk. There are a few websites now, for example, that in a way try to find a middle way. You submit your designs, maybe for t-shirts, you offer it to customers. If they like it, they order before they are produced. Then the website, the company that manages the website, produces and delivers the t-shirts to the customers, and you get some commission that is higher. So in a way, you can test your design and its market value before you actually invest money to produce something with that. Independent publishing is very similar to self-publishing. So in a way, you keep your copyrights, you do it on your own, more for digital rights. I used it for some conferences as well. So, and this is a cheaper way to protect your creation if you're a writer or something.